It was a quiet Saturday morning. Bill woke later than usual, 10:03. Finally slept in, he thought, stretching as his shoulders cracked softly. The apartment was cool, and for a few moments he just lay there, listening to someone moving a chair upstairs. He got up, tore yesterday's page from the calendar. October 24th, Saturday. A small pleasure. No work today. In the kitchen, he set the kettle on and poured coffee into his mug. The window was fogged, the sky gray, roofs wet. A man walking his dog below. Peaceful autumn morning. Bill sat at the table scrolling through the news. The same headlines, the same faces. He turned off the screen and sat in silence. It felt like the day was still deciding what to be. After coffee, he decided to take a walk. Jacket, sneakers, door closed behind him. The air smelled of damp leaves, and the tree near the entrance had only a few yellow ones left. He followed familiar streets, the pharmacy, the cafe at the corner, the old shop soon to close. But that morning, he turned a little farther, just to make a loop. A narrow alley appeared suddenly, squeezed between two buildings. It might have always been there, but Bill could swear he'd never noticed it. Cracked asphalt, low lamps, blind walls without windows, and one building in the middle, slightly apart from the rest. Its facade had several doors, each different in color and shape. Some new, others old with peeling paint. No signs, no numbers, just doors, standing in a row like exhibits. Bill stopped, curiosity rising. He stepped closer. The city behind him went oddly quiet, as if muted. He took out his phone to snap a picture, but the image came out blurry, unfocused. "Weird," he muttered, and tried again. Same result. He moved closer to one of the doors, dark wood, metal handle, warm to the touch. He hesitated, then pressed down. The door opened easily. Behind it was a room, empty but strangely familiar. A table, a wooden chair, an old lamp on the windowsill, and that scent, faint but clear. Warm wood, dust, and coffee. Bill stepped inside, heart tightening slightly. He didn't know why, but he felt like he'd been there before. Back home, after a few small chores, evening came before he noticed. That night, Bill couldn't sleep. He lay in the dark, trying to explain why that building bothered him so much. It made no sense, just an old place, a few doors, nothing more. But the feeling of seeing that familiar room wouldn't let go. When he finally fell asleep, his dreams were fragmented. The same room, dust in the sunlight, the scent of wood, that uneasy sense of standing somewhere he didn't belong. He woke to his heartbeat. 7:15. Coffee, window, gray sky again. One more day off before work returned. The same faces, the same talk. Maybe he'd just walk there again, see if it was real. By the time he reached the alley, the morning was warming slightly. Quiet, windless autumn. The same cracked walls, the same lamps. The building stood waiting. The street again felt cut off from the city, like it existed separately. The dark door from yesterday was closed now. The lock looked old. The handle didn't move. He sighed, stepped aside. Next door, lighter wood, faded paint, a small brass bell beside it. When he touched the handle, the bell chimed softly. The door opened. Inside was another room, small, with a desk by the window. On it, a few papers. One caught his eye. His own handwriting. A draft of a resignation letter he once wrote but never sent. He had torn it up, thrown it away. But here it was, whole. Bill stood silent, a strange lightness in his chest mixed with unease. The room was real. Dust on the sill, the faint smell of coffee, even a light breeze from the open window. He looked outside and froze. The yard beyond was the one from his childhood. The low fence, tall poplars, the old sandbox bench. It couldn't be coincidence.
He stepped back, scanning the room. Every object seemed to carry a memory, though he couldn't tell which. He closed the door quietly and turned to the hall. The other doors seemed closer now, waiting. Different colors, different handles, each inviting. He hesitated a moment, then opened the next. Inside a table, two chairs, and on the one of them, his old grey coat. He touched it. Cold fabric. On the table lay a notebook, filled with his old ideas, the ones he never pushed. Some lines he recognized. Others felt foreign, as if written by someone else. The house wasn't showing the past. Not exactly. It was reminding him of what he would left unfinished. Bill stood still, trying to understand why. Then, instead of leaving, he looked at the remaining doors. He knew he wanted to open them all. Bill stood in the narrow hallway. Ahead were a few more doors. He no longer felt afraid, only a quiet certainty that he had to see what was behind them. He reached for the next handle. The door opened into a small kitchen. An old table, plates, cups, and two figures by the window. Himself younger, and the girl he once loved. Laughter, the smell of coffee, the soft light of morning. He watched them arguing gently. Her smile, the warmth of it. Back then he didn't know that he would call her for the last time that same evening. He stepped back and closed the door. The corridor now seemed longer. 3 more doors. The next one led to an office, his workplace. Stacks of papers, the same desk he saw every day, but sometimes was different. On the wall hung a small sign. It could have been otherwise. He stared at this chair for a long time, feeling the weight in his chest, not from work, but from himself. He left the room quietly. The third door opened with effort. The lock cracked, as if reluctant to let him in. Inside sat his father, fixing something at the table. Silence. Bill took a step forward, but the man didn't look up. He remembered that evening well. The one when he was supposed to say something important, but didn't. Again he couldn't. He just stood there, watching as time passed quietly by. When he closed the door, he realized only one remained, the darkest one, with a worn wooden handle. He held his breath and pushed. There was no room behind it, only a mirror, plain, slightly dull, but in he saw himself, not younger, not older, just as he was now, tired but alive. He stood there for a long moment, unsure what to do. Then he noticed faint words etched into the glass. "Your choices shape you." He smiled slightly. For the first time in a long while, it felt real. He stepped outside. The sun was low, and the alley no longer felt strange. The house stayed behind him, and in his mind, a quiet sense that something had finally fallen into place.